Hello everyone, and thank you for joining my channel. I just wanted to go over a couple of things with the Derby Owners Club. I've gotten some questions recently on wiring. So with wiring, let me show you a little bit about how this works. So I use a wire terminal down here, and just to cover this again, Sega wiring is different than JAMMA wiring. On Sega Naomi systems, white is ground, and on JAMMA, black is ground. On Sega, yellow wiring represents 5 volt. On JAMMA, yellow represents 12. On Sega Naomi 1, red wiring represents 12 volts. Okay? So I've got a label down here that's 12 volts. Let's see if we can get a zoom in on that. And that's red. This is the Sega input side. This is the JAMMA connected side. So a little bit of wiring changes. I just want to get down low. There we go. So the Sega's on the left. It inputs. On the right is the JAMMA going out. So one of the things I did was that there's a lamp inside of the control panel, which is there's a lamp in here, not an LED. Everything else is an LED. Okay? So I put this at 5 volts because if you leave it on all the time at 12 volts, which is what it's labeled for, it will actually get too hot and burn out. The reason is that the original game had a very complex wiring diagram or wiring harness that was extremely difficult to navigate for novices, and I build these machines for people. It's usually their first arcade. And so it's a little bit dimmer on purpose, and that's by design. The 12 volts go to the red, as you can see. So I didn't use the JVS, I used JAMMA. JVS was a input-output board designed by Sega to give it more functionality for lighting and different aspects around that. And I used the Sega JVS board for I/O, which is right here. This is it. Goes around. This is a JAMMA harness. This is made by Sega. It's the input-output board. Uses a USB cable to talk to the units downstairs. This is a shelf. And then, of course, I have some wiring that goes across the back here. And as you can tell, everything is intact back to the wiring terminal. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about how I set things up on the inside of a machine. You can see I've got an I/O gear switch that's over on the control panel right here for the multi-games. Then this one was traded back in with a 60-in-1 board, as you can see. And then I've got over here is the card reader communication board. This plugs back down with the Sega Naomi 1s. And I hope that clears up any confusion that people may have against 5 volt and 12 volt. If you do wire 12 volts to the hold button, it will get so hot your hand will burn. No kidding. So it's probably good to keep it at 5, but if you can find an LED replacement and post it in the comments, I would really like to know. We need a green LED replacement for Sega buttons. I haven't been able to locate one, and any help is greatly appreciated. This is Ted signing off from the Derby Owners Club in Seattle, Washington.